What in the heck is meant by a healthy, balanced diet? I'm willing to bet more people are like me than not. I'm willing to bet that a lot of people are confused as far as what's the right thing to eat, what's the best thing to eat. So we're going to jump into that very discussion on this video. So watch this video all the way through. I think you're going to get some value. You might get some clarity, and you might maybe start thinking a little differently about this whole thing. Stay tuned. All right, so what is a healthy, balanced diet? First, let me introduce myself. My name is Dom Tischer. I want to put this disclaimer out there. I am not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not some fitness guru. And I'm not going to pretend to be one either. Now, if you've been on this, if you saw me on YouTube or somewhere else, you probably saw me talking about ketones or a company called Prove It. And look, I'm extremely passionate about both because they both have helped improve my life and my family's. But this video, we're not going to talk about that at all. Instead, we're going to be talking about something that I'm becoming extremely passionate about, and I'm just trying to find out the right thing and the things that are going to help me live a healthier, happier life. So what is a healthy, balanced diet? I'm going to read something to you that I just found. It says a balanced diet includes foods from 5 groups and fulfills all of a person's nutritional needs. Well, what in the heck does that mean? Because my nutritional needs might be different than yours. And I know for certain my nutritional needs are a lot different than some Olympic athlete. It's a lot different. My nutritional needs are different than somebody else my age. People are very unique and different. And one thing that I like to do is I like to think of my body, your body, as a piece of machinery. Think about your car. How much maintenance do you put into your car to keep it running? What type of fuel do you put in your car? Do you put in the highest grade that you can afford because you want to make it last longer? I'm willing to bet the answer is yes. However, we're not putting in the best foods into this machine, the most important machine that we have, our bodies and our brain, because one, either it might be too hard, there's so much confusing information, and we think it's too expensive. So let me go into these 5 groups that they tell us our foods break down into, that we should have to have a balanced diet. Fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. So let's start with vegetables and fruits. We're told that we should eat an abundance of leafy greens and colorful fruits and vegetables. And I would agree with that. I think we get a lot of nutritional value from vegetables. I don't eat that many, but I should. But then on the other hand, we hear that, well, don't eat too many fruits because if you do, you're going to spike your blood sugar because there's fructose in the fruit. And fructose is sugar. So we got to limit the sugar. But then they're telling you to eat an abundance of fruits and vegetables. That's a little confusing. Now let's go ahead with the grains. So grains, this is the best one of all. They say, hey, we need to eat whole grain bread, pasta, and cereals. Because there's a lot of different vitamins and minerals in there that we need. But there's another side to it. They tell us that we should actually limit the sugar that we take in. Well, did you know that one slice of whole wheat bread has 1 teaspoon of added sugar per slice? So we're adding sugar to our whole grain breads, pasta, and cereal. That doesn't even include the number of grams of carbohydrates that are in each slice of bread or in the pasta. And carbohydrates break down in the body, and you consume it, you take it in, and it turns into glucose. Now here's the funny thing with glucose. It's a fuel source. It's like gasoline, right? So it helps you do things, it helps you think, it helps your body move. If you don't have it, you become lethargic, sluggish. Here's the crazy thing: if you have too much of it, you get this energy spike and then you crash. I'm sure we've all experienced that during the day. Then we start doing this again. We have energy, then we crash. Here's the thing, is every time we put in carbohydrates, it converts to glucose. Then our body signals, oh, we need insulin, which is a transporter. It's like the bus, comes around in our bloodstream, picks up the excess glucose, and stores it in the fatty cells. When we take in too much glucose, then we start to get bigger around the midsection for us men. For women, it's in the butt, hips, and thighs. Now, there's a direct correlation of the size of the stomach, hips, gut, or the stomach or the gut, the hips and thighs and butt, to coronary disease. So, should we actually have all those whole grain breads, pastas, and cereal if we're not even considering that there's added sugar, that there's a significant amount of carbohydrates that convert to glucose? And then what about the gluten? We see all this stuff about gluten on the grocery shelf and the restaurant menus, gluten-free, gluten-free. Man, if they're taking gluten out of stuff, it must be pretty bad. I've got to admit, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a nutritionist. I had no idea what gluten was. So I did some research, and gluten is just a protein. It's an extremely difficult protein for the body to absorb, to utilize. However, it does have some vitamins and minerals. But there's a downside. Gluten, even if you don't have celiac disease, creates an excess amount of inflammation. However, then they being government agencies and nutritionists and all this, say, well, if you go gluten-free, then you're going to miss out on other essential vitamins and minerals and protein, because now you're eating less bread, or the whole grain bread and the pastas that have all this other stuff in it. It's a challenge. It's confusing. Now let's go to the proteins. They say eat lean protein. We need to be lower on fat. Eat lean protein. Okay, got it. Then they throw in this meat called fish. And a lot of the healthy fish are fatty fish. So they're telling you to go lean protein, but then they throw in fish and they say you need to go low fat, but fish has a bunch of fat because you need those omega-3s and 6s and everything. And if you're not having it, then you should supplement. Again, a little confusing. And I think this is why people are finding it to be a challenge to eat a well-balanced, healthy diet. There's so much confusion out there. And the worst of all is the fats. Fats have been villainized, just terrible, right? Fat is bad for you. Eat skim milk, fat-free this, fat-free that. Well, fat's like a preservative. We take that out, what are we putting in to preserve? It's a natural preservative at that, along with sodium, but now they're using sugar, but yet we're supposed to reduce sugar. You see how confusing that is? And then they tell us that we should eat olive oil, fat. Coconut oil, fat. Nuts, fat, and some protein. So it's all kinds of confusing. And then we're told, oh, a 2,000 calorie diet. Well, does that mean I can eat 2,000 calories of sugar and be good? It's really confusing. So I think that what people need to do is figure out a diet that works best for them. The best diet in the world is the one that you're going to stick with. And then it's not a diet. A diet is a true 4-letter word. They're junk, they're shit. Stay away from diets, but rather make a lifestyle change. One that you can maintain long term, where you and your family can live a healthier, happier life, a more fulfilled life. So if we break this down even more, what is motivating the sales of whole grain foods and pastas and all this other stuff? It's the food industry. When you could buy wheat, which has gluten, and you could buy corn, and you could buy soy, all on the stock market, there's a lot of people that want to get paid on it. So of course they're going to push these things. You don't see people advertising for these great healthy things. Grow your own vegetables or anything like that, because there's no money in it. Think about this. Here in America, around the world, we have a sick care system. We don't have a health care system. And I know you might be thinking right now, Dom, you fell off your rocker. Of course we have a health care system. I go to the doctor. If I'm sick, he gives me a prescription. I take the meds and I feel better. Yeah, that's the sick care system. You only use it when you're sick. People only make money in the health care system when you are sick or somebody that you know. These big pharmaceutical companies wouldn't turn trillion-dollar profits if you were healthy. So if you look at these studies from 1940s all the way to now, the obesity rate has skyrocketed. Well, coincidentally, that's when our food pyramid all kind of said we need to take in more grains or carbohydrates and less fat, which increase sugar and carbohydrates. I don't know. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I'm sitting here and I'm becoming very passionate about it. I'm like, if we know these things, if somebody comes down with cancer, they're told, hey, we need to eliminate gluten. We need to eliminate any processed foods. We need to get rid of excess sugar and XYZ. Why aren't we doing that before people get it? With all the millions and millions of dollars that go into cancer research, why aren't we teaching people the correct things to eat? Look, it's very simple. There's no money in it. So I'm also told that obesity and diabetes and all these other health challenges are health challenges of the poor. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, what in the world does that mean? Well, think about it. How many times have you seen a Rolls Royce drive through McDonald's drive-through or Burger King? Now think about how many times you've seen a Honda Accord or anything else, or a Chevy pickup truck go through there. Right? So typically, people that are wealthy eat healthier. These professional athletes and movie stars, they have people that cook for them, and they pick the freshest fruit, the freshest vegetables, and the freshest meat. And it's cooked for them, and it's cooked healthy in the portions. You and I, well, you might have it. I don't have a cook. Man, I wish I did. Right? So think about that. Think about all the wealthy people. Typically, they're leaner. They're more active. They sleep better. I think it all boils down to their lifestyle. Not just because they have money or they don't or anything like that, but I think a lot of it is because what they fuel their machine with. So you have a conscious decision to make. Either you're going to spend a little bit more on your grocery bill to eat organic or to eat healthier options for you and your family, or you're going to pay the price later. I don't know which one you want to do. I know which one I want to do. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. We've grown up. I'm in my 40s and I'm just learning this stuff. I've created decades of bad habits of eating. And so I have to make the conscious decision of what I put in this hole to fuel this machine, so that way I can live a healthier, happier life and be around for those that care and love for me. So I heard somebody say one time, the way that humans are designed is we should go from happy, 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 dead. Not happy, happy, miserable, sick, dying, misery, dead. No, it should be happy, 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 dead. You make your choice. So what is a healthy, balanced diet? You got to figure that out. What is it for you? Is it a bunch of ho-hos and Twinkies? Or is it good, healthy stuff? What are you going to fuel your machine with? Or your children? Think about that. Hopefully this helped. Probably caused some confusion. Thanks for watching.